Scorpio, you've already won. Yes, before the applause, before the evidence shows up, before anyone else believes in you, you've already been chosen, cleared, and claimed by divine justice. And now, the only instruction from the universe is this: don't move. A massive financial miracle is quietly making its way to you. It's not late. It's not lost. It's just sacred. And sacred things arrive in stillness. You didn't come to this video by accident. Scorpio doesn't follow the crowd, you follow signs, patterns, energy. And something led you here today because your spirit knows what your mind may still be questioning. Something powerful is happening just behind the curtain of your current reality. You can feel the shift in the silence. You can feel it in the way your soul has been unusually still. This is the space between verdict and reward. The war is over. And now, your only job is to remain grounded while the heavens finalize the transfer. You've been tested in ways no one else could see. Behind the surface of your strength was a sacred exhaustion. But you kept going. You gave generously when you had little. You believed in your path when no one else did. You loved through abandonment, you prayed through silence, and you rose again and again when even you didn't think you could. Scorpio, that was never unnoticed. Heaven saw it all. And while the world calculated your worth based on noise and performance, God was writing a verdict that could only be delivered in peace. You are worthy. You are chosen. It's time to receive. And the way you receive this isn't by striving. It's by standing still with faith. Not passive silence, but intentional stillness where you stop fighting ghosts and start welcoming grace. This blessing won't come through effort. It will come through alignment. Right now, your nervous system may not know what to do with this quiet. You've been so wired for survival, so ready for another disappointment, that peace feels unfamiliar. But you're not waiting anymore. You're being rebuilt. This stillness you feel, it's not emptiness. It's recalibration. It's the hand of God restoring what was stolen, healing what was torn, and preparing you to carry a greater weight of glory than ever before. If you're suddenly sleeping more, crying without reason, or feeling emotionally undone in peaceful moments, you're not broken. You're being upgraded. Your spiritual system is learning how to carry wealth, not just wish for it. You're learning to sit like royalty, no longer begging, proving, or chasing. Because what's coming next requires you to be rooted, not reactive. So if you're here right now, I ask you not to dismiss the nudge that brought you. This message didn't find you randomly, it's the confirmation your spirit has been seeking. I invite you to stay with me until the end of this message, because what we're about to unlock together is not just about money. It's about freedom, identity, restoration, and above all, a return to divine timing after years of delay. Take a deep breath, Scorpio. You're safe now. The accounts are being settled. The ledgers are being corrected. And the resources that were misused in your name are coming back to you, multiplied and sanctified. If you feel the truth of this message somewhere inside you, even just a flicker, comment below right now and simply say, I'm ready to receive. Let that be your first act of stillness. Because in the unseen, a miracle has already begun. And trust me, you'll want to be here until the very end. What the universe is about to reveal is magnificent. What we're entering now is not just a moment of personal transformation, it's a cosmic correction. Scorpio, everything in your life has been leading to this precise energetic inflection point. The suffering, the silence, the seasons of misunderstanding, they were never random. They were part of a divine sequence, orchestrated not to break you but to fortify what could not be built any other way, your inner knowing. In the language of the stars, Scorpio governs death and rebirth, intense transformation that doesn't simply change the outer form but reconfigures the essence. And this season is your evidence that the transformation has been witnessed, completed, and now exalted. This phase, the declaration of spiritual vindication, is not just about being cleared of accusation. It's about finally being seen. It's about the unseen realm validating what your soul has always known, that you were never lacking, only delayed, never forsaken, only hidden for a higher reveal. And while the world measured you by your silence, your solitude, or even your scarcity, heaven was watching the condition of your heart, especially when it was bruised, but still hopeful. You see, Scorpio, this is not justice by human terms. It's not revenge. It's not vindictiveness. It's restoration. The kind of restoration that only divine timing can deliver. When Scripture whispers, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit," it's not a poetic metaphor, it's energetic truth. What breaks you open, aligns you. What humbles you, prepares you. And what the world calls a setback, heaven calls a seed. All the things that seem to be setbacks were actually delays rooted in protection. While others rose by stepping over you or silencing you, their gains came with spiritual debt. The ledgers have been opened now, not out of punishment, but because balance is law. And energetic law always returns to wholeness. You're not being rewarded simply for what you did, you're being restored for who you continued to be, despite the pain, despite the rejection, despite the invisibility. There's a sacredness in being the one who kept showing up even when nothing changed. The one who gave when there was barely enough. The one who forgave when the wound was still raw. These are not just spiritual disciplines, they are spiritual testimonies. And in this moment, they're being presented as evidence in the courtroom of heaven on your behalf. This is why the universe is moving quietly behind the scenes, not with noise, but with precision. The restoration is too large to announce in advance. It must arrive in silence so that it can land in the soil of your soul without being intercepted by fear, doubt, or haste. That's why stillness is your spiritual posture now. Stillness is not inactivity, it is alignment. It is the trust that says, I don't have to rush what is already mine. Even when no one else affirmed you, when the recognition never came, your belief in your own divine design was the frequency that kept you connected to this outcome. And now that outcome is no longer a wish. It's a decree. You're no longer being asked to strive, Scorpio. You're being asked to stand, because this time, the proof will arrive not as applause, but as provision. Not as praise, but as peace. And yes, your name was whispered in heaven long before it was shouted on earth. Your suffering did not go unseen. Your surrender was not in vain. You are not being blessed because you never struggled, you are being blessed because you never stopped believing. So now, remain grounded. Stay open. Stand still. The sentence has been declared, not guilty, fully restored, and anointed to receive. Scorpio, in the quiet aftermath of divine vindication, the next instruction may feel surprisingly simple: just stay still. And yet, stillness is not simple at all, is it? For a sign ruled by deep waters and powerful undercurrents, remaining still in the face of energetic momentum can feel like denying your very nature. But here's what I want you to understand: this is not a call to freeze. This is a sacred alignment with the current that is already carrying you forward without effort. You're not being asked to do less, you're being invited to trust more. When the universe whispers, "Don't move," it isn't withholding reward, it's making room for delivery. Stillness, in this season, is not passivity. It's mastery. It's the embodiment of faith that no longer needs external validation. It's knowing that what is yours will not miss you, and what is divine does not require your hustle to arrive. You're not delaying your blessing by staying still, you're creating a landing space for it. A clear, calm, open field where it can root, grow, and multiply without the interference of doubt, overthinking, or panic. The instruction to remain still lives on 3 levels: mental, emotional, and physical. And each one matters. Mentally, your mind has likely been your sharpest weapon, your strategy center, your survival tool. But now it must become your sanctuary. This means silencing the inner critic, the planner, the problem solver that's always on alert. You may not realize it, but the energy of overanalyzing with good intentions sends a message to the universe that you don't fully believe the outcome has already been secured. So instead of scrambling for answers, affirm gently and repeatedly, "I am chosen. I am ready to receive." Not as a plea, but as a confirmation. Not as wishful thinking, but as sacred agreement. Emotionally, stillness means allowing yourself to feel without acting on every impulse. You may find joy rising so high that you want to shout it from rooftops, or anxiety fluttering in your chest with no clear cause. Let them come. Let them pass. You are safe now. These feelings are echoes, not facts. They're remnants of the battlefield energy your nervous system is still releasing. You are detoxing adrenaline, not receiving danger. Let peace become the new emotional rhythm. Don't over-celebrate. Don't over-explain. Contain your joy as if it were holy oil, waiting to be poured at the right time, on the right soil. Physically, this is where stillness becomes most misunderstood. People think it means doing nothing, but in reality, it means doing only what anchors you. Don't quit your job on a spiritual high. Don't rush to make declarations about your new life. Don't burn bridges with those who doubted you. Keep your pace slow and steady. Cook. Walk. Sleep. Breathe. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when it is held in faith. The physical realm is watching to see how you hold yourself when you no longer need to prove anything. And the more grounded you are, the more trustworthy you become as a container for miraculous provision. In the same way that a seed knows when to be still beneath the soil before it breaks through the surface, you are being asked to trust the dark silence as part of the process. It may look like nothing is happening, but everything is happening. Just not in the visible realm yet. You are being calibrated for increase, not punished with delay. And in this recalibration, the greatest gift you can offer is your stillness, a conscious, faith-filled, embodied stillness that whispers to the heavens, "I'm ready. I won't run this time. I won't doubt this time. I'll be here, open, quiet, present when the miracle arrives." Scorpio, after you've been spiritually vindicated and asked to stand still, something deeper begins to happen, not on the surface of your life, but in the wiring of your being. This is what many don't see or talk about, the invisible rewiring. The energy that once held you in survival mode is slowly being unhooked, and a new energetic architecture is being installed in its place. You're not just preparing to receive abundance, you are becoming someone who is able to carry and hold that abundance with grace, peace, and stability. That's not something that happens overnight. It's a process of spiritual, emotional, and physical recalibration. What you're experiencing right now, whether it's emotional waves, random fatigue, restlessness at night, or tears you can't explain, are not signs of something wrong. They are indicators that your frequency is shifting. Think of it like this: your internal software was coded through years of hardship, scarcity, fear, and self-doubt. Your nervous system learned to expect lack, to be vigilant for disappointment, and to work overtime just to feel safe. And now, abundance is trying to enter that system. But the old code doesn't know what to do with overflow. It tries to push it away or misinterpret it as a threat. That's why your body and emotions may feel like they're malfunctioning. They're not. They're being upgraded. From an energetic perspective, this recalibration begins in the auric field, the electromagnetic field around your body, which adjusts first before any physical changes occur. The body then responds. That's why grounding becomes essential. Simple actions like drinking more water, replenishing magnesium and B12 levels, and resting when your body asks for it are not luxuries in this season, they are spiritual disciplines. They support the body's ability to hold higher frequency states without burning out. If you feel pulled toward candlelight meditation, gentle yoga, or even placing your feet in warm water with Epsom salt, don't question that instinct. These actions are not just relaxing, they are anchoring. They are signals to your system that it is safe to expand. Food, too, plays a subtle but powerful role. In astrology, Scorpio is governed by Pluto and is co-ruled by Mars in traditional charts. Both of these energies deal with transformation and vitality. The colors purple, red, and gold have long been associated with royalty, power, and transmutation. Eating foods of these colors like dark grapes, beets, turmeric, and saffron not only supports your physical health but also resonates with your energetic body in this transformative time. It's like feeding your spirit nutrients it hasn't received in a long time. As your frequency rises, you may also find that you no longer resonate with certain environments, conversations, or even thought patterns that once felt comfortable. This is part of the realignment. You're being repositioned not just externally, but internally. And while this may feel like loss on the surface, it is in fact liberation. You are being released from identities and attachments that were rooted in struggle. The patterns that kept you small are being dissolved because they no longer match your upgraded self. This is why stillness is so essential. You are not only attracting wealth, you are becoming wealth. And that transformation requires silence, gentleness, and self-trust. Like a butterfly in the cocoon, you are not lazy or stagnant, you are forming wings. Let the process happen. Let the download complete. This is the sacred moment before everything changes on the outside, and it begins with the quiet inside. The journey to abundance is not just external, it's deeply internal. By honoring your body, listening to its new needs, and treating yourself with softness, you create the ideal environment for wealth to land and stay. You are no longer just surviving, Scorpio. You're becoming the fertile soil for generational overflow. And this version of you? It doesn't beg for blessings. It magnetizes them. Scorpio, what's unfolding right now is not some sudden stroke of luck or an unexpected miracle falling from the sky. It's a precise, deliberate, cosmic recalibration. A universal balancing of the books. And in your case, the universe is not just offering you a glimpse of your future reward, but is also returning to you what was unjustly taken in the past. What may have once felt like a loss, a betrayal, or a missed opportunity is now being revisited not with the energy of vengeance, but with the energy of rightful restoration. You are not being paid back out of pity. You are being restored out of principle. Every energetic transaction you've endured, every heartbreak that left a scar, every closed door that felt like rejection, every time you were overlooked, undervalued, or underestimated has not been ignored. Energetically speaking, the universe operates on a system of balance. When a debt is incurred against your spirit, even if it's not seen or acknowledged in the physical world, it is logged in the energetic field. This is what makes this part of your journey so powerful. You are no longer pleading for closure or clarity. The energetic system that governs cause and effect is now stepping in to make things right. You don't need to confront those who wronged you. You don't need to explain to the world what really happened. That season is over. What is owed to you is already being rerouted not by force, but by frequency. One of the things we often misunderstand is how restoration actually works. It's not always handed back to you in the same form you lost it. Sometimes the love that was denied to you in childhood is returned in the form of deep self-respect or soul-aligned relationships. Sometimes the betrayal that nearly broke you becomes the fire that sharpens your discernment. And sometimes the opportunity that was stolen is replaced by a divine assignment that expands your influence far beyond what you would have originally accepted. This is the wisdom of the universe at work. It doesn't simply return what was taken, it translates it into something better suited for who you've become. There's a beautiful truth that often gets lost in seasons of hardship. Just because someone else walked away with something that belonged to you doesn't mean it will prosper in their hands. When something is taken through manipulation, deceit, or force, it becomes a burden, not a blessing. And while you may have grieved its loss, you've also unknowingly created space for its purified return. That's what's happening now. You are being made whole again, but not in fragments. In fullness. And here's what makes this even more profound. You're receiving all this not because you fought for it, but because you finally released the fight. You stopped demanding justice and chose peace. You stopped trying to make others see your worth and decided to embody it for yourself. That shift in vibration, that quiet inner decision to choose alignment over resistance, is what unlocked the flow. This isn't about proving anything. It's about reclaiming what's always been yours on a soul level. As someone who's walked through the shadows, you understand what it means to be without. That's why what's returning to you now carries a different weight. You will hold it with reverence. You will use it with intention. And most importantly, you will never again confuse delay with denial. Everything that is returning now is coming back multiplied, purified, and protected. Because it no longer serves only you, it serves your healing, your legacy, and the next chapter you're about to write. And that, Scorpio, is the justice your soul always knew was coming. Scorpio, as the energy begins to shift and what once felt distant starts making its way into form, the signs become impossible to ignore, not because they are loud, but because they are precise. These repeating numbers that flash on clocks or receipts 111, 222, 777, 888 aren't coincidences. They are subtle nudges, soft confirmations, reminders that something is already in motion. Just like tracking updates on a long-awaited delivery, these synchronicities serve as spiritual receipts that your order has not only been received, but is actively being prepared. The moment you begin to notice them, you are no longer waiting, you are already in alignment. When unexpected money appears, when someone from your past reaches out with a different tone, or when time bends through déjà vu or dreams of wealth and freedom, you are witnessing previews of the life that's beginning to unfold around you. These are not signs that something might happen. They're confirmations that it already is. But as exciting as these signs can be, their purpose is not just to awaken joy or anticipation. They are also sacred invitations into deeper responsibility. The abundance that is coming to you isn't just for your comfort, it's for your calling. It's the fuel for your mission. It's the resource your higher self requested in a prayer you may not even remember speaking aloud. And now, it's arriving. Not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. Because you became a safe container for overflow. In astrology, Scorpio rules transformation, power, and hidden truth. And when wealth finds its way to you, it doesn't just come to elevate your lifestyle, it comes to reveal what you're truly here to build. The universe is entrusting you with more, not as a reward, but as a commission. A calling to create new structures, new support systems, and new sacred spaces in a world that is starving for healing, dignity, and inclusion. Your blessing, then, is not an endpoint, it's a beginning. The beginning of what happens when resources meet readiness. You may feel unqualified. You may feel unprepared. But look again at everything you've survived. Every time you gave when you had little, every time you chose compassion over bitterness, every time you stayed soft in a hard world, you were becoming who you need to be to handle what's on its way. You weren't just surviving hardship. You were training for stewardship. When the resources arrive, and they will, you'll feel a deep knowing. A calm resolve that this is not luck. This is purpose. You may not want to post it or prove it. You'll want to plan quietly, give generously, move with intention. You'll want to build not just for yourself, but for those who were never invited to the table. You'll want to become the table. And that's how you'll know this abundance came with assignment attached. So when the signs show up, don't dismiss them as strange. Whisper back, I see it. I'm ready. When the money comes, no matter how small at first, bless it. Respect it. Treat it like the beginning of a legacy, not just the resolution of a need. And when you feel the call to do more, give more, to build more, to include more, know that you are not being stretched thin. You are being expanded. And Scorpio, expansion is your element. You were never meant to just receive. You were meant to lead with what you've received. And now, that time has come. Scorpio, you've already won. The moment you chose faith over fear, grace over grudges, and stillness over struggle, the gates of heaven began opening in silence. This is not about striving. It's about receiving. A massive financial miracle is moving quietly behind you, not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. Like a procession of divine light, abundance is marching toward your life right now. And your only task is to stay still. And stay open. What if the miracle isn't waiting for you to do more but simply to believe more? Can you let go of control long enough to trust that the work has already been done in the spiritual realm? That the prayers, the fastings, the tears you shed in secret were never in vain? What if all heaven is watching to see how you will receive now that the heavens have released? So, open your heart like a doorway to the sacred. Let your soul rest in the assurance that what's meant for you is not late, not lost, and not small. Don't try to earn it. Don't try to explain it. Just breathe. You're not a beggar at the Getesarian air of the light. You're not here to beg for blessings, you're here to steward miracles. Let yourself be worthy of wealth without guilt. Let yourself be trusted with increase without shrinking back. And when it arrives, let your actions reflect the purpose behind the provision. Don't mistake this as luck. This is divine orchestration. This is the fulfillment of timing you couldn't control, but that your soul always sensed was coming. So I ask you, what will you build with the abundance that finds you? Who will you lift when you rise? How will you serve once your cup overflows? Remember, the universe never sends wealth without assignment. You are not the lottery winner, you are the chosen vessel. This is why it took so long. This is why the trials were so specific. Because you are not just being blessed. You are being entrusted. So take a breath and anchor this moment. If you feel this truth stirring within, I invite you to comment below, I am ready. I am still. I am the air of light. Let the algorithm reflect your alignment. Like this video to lock in the frequency of abundance. And subscribe to Miracle of the Sign so you never miss a message meant solely for the evolution of your soul. Now, if it feels right, place your hand over your heart and whisper these words softly to yourself. Lord, I am ready to steward your blessings. Use me as a vessel of healing, provision, and light for a world in need. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. And now, Scorpio, your moment has come.